Takapapa.
You can't see them, Mum.
There, Joshy, say hello to Papa and Nan.
E ko te uhi koa, whanno whana, hala mai te uhi, haumi e, hui e, tāiki e.
Kei konei ahau, he Takatāpui Ahau. A couple of years ago I went to Wananga. We did a few things over that weekend, but one of them was some mahi that someone had been doing for their PhD, and that was largely focused around moko and takatāpuitanga. After this presentation, another takatāpui, who also identified as being trans-masculine, I asked them, would you ever consider receiving a mata ora? And they said yes. And they asked me the same question, and I also said yes, but I had a lot of apprehension around what that meant and what that could look like. And then I just had naturally a lot of questions and curiosity. Working within the arts, what does that look like when it comes to hosting those spaces for wānanga? What does that look like? And from that space, we were largely coming from the space of wānanga. How can we facilitate that here as the area that revitalised moko? I think being connected nationally to other takatāpui across Aotearoa and in Te Whenua Moemoeā and Nam, I noticed online this growing presence of people who are takatāpui receiving what you would typically define as a gendered marking when it came to the kauai or mata ora, but they were getting their different renditions of what that looked like. And so I also was curious about the safety behind that for both sides, for kaitā who'd been in the space for so long and what the conversation was like for them, but also for takatāpui receiving these markings, were they safe and how did they navigate that space? We moved on from trying to encourage a wānanga because it did become much more personal to me. It started to become a question of, would I be able to receive that? Not a mata ora, but a puhoro.
I got asked to do this person. I didn't know who they were, but then it was explained that this person was a transsexual. And then when I found out who it was, I said, oh, I grew up with this person. And then that person said to me, and the person's name is Leslie. And Leslie had asked, first, can we have a conversation about this, understanding that it's going to be tricky. So when Leslie came for the discussion, my auntie, her mother, came as well. It took me, I had a little bit of time to think about how am I going to approach this conversation. And it was, once auntie walked in, I thought, I know exactly how to approach this conversation. So we had a little bit of a talk and everything. And I said to Auntie Mahino, Aunt, now we all know that Leslie was born with a penis. All right, we all knew that. And I said, but in your eyes, is Leslie your son or your daughter? And without any hesitation, Auntie Mahino said, that's my daughter. And so I said, then I've got nothing to hold me back.
For me, it was the challenge in my mind, especially in the way that I express gender and that guidance of the Western system, like surgeries, and just how brutal that is for us to navigate as queer people generally, but also as Indigenous people. It didn't really feel aligned to me, the sense of being stripped of something of my body, or it felt really sort of like a massacre of the body. And I know that that's not everyone's experience, but I didn't want to lose that part of me. It didn't feel like that was affirming for me. But the thought of moko was.
Ki te whakatutu ki te mahi, I runga I te tika me te pono. So when you came to me with the tono for your puhoro, I was incredibly humbled. And it was never, I know, but it was, okay, man, I need to figure out a way how to weave this kaupapa together in a visual way that is going to articulate your story, your kōrero, and your haerenga through moko, not just for now, for your tamariki, and for what will carry on out of this kaupapa. And I could see the significance of that when you presented this tono to me, hence the nerves. I think whakapapa, mana, and what our contribution was to the collective sheds light on that. Tāne, wāhine, Takatāpui, every shade in between, held its own purpose and its own mana and its ability to contribute back to the hapori and to the collective. Being able to take that whakaaro and carry it I tēnei wā tonu nei is something really important.
Ko te kupu takapapa. You know, I still have to go back to previous hui, and the hui that stands out again in my mind is te hui atau, Takatāpui hui atau. This was where my takapapa started. My family were there from the Bay of Plenty. My aunties, oh, crazy, these women. But they came to sit and learn. They came to whakawhanaungatanga with everyone. But they didn't know a name. And, you know, so we talked about a name in that hui, and for them, their input to the hui was they had uncles and some aunties that they just called sissies. That was just the common name used, you know, for anyone who was different, really. And so we thought about it, and so after the hui, my parents were there, God bless them, and they adopted that kupu, Takatāpui, and we moved that along with our own rōpū that Mama Tere and I started back in 93, and we moved that, so we became a rōpū Takatāpui. On reflection, building on, you know, Takatāpui is building a takapapa. You know, it's equivalent to me in my heart is whakapapa.
He kupu anō mo te Puhoro, mo tēnei takiwa nei, that I've listened to. Te aho a Māui, each section of the Puhoro has a male and a female section that intertwine with each other. And if you were to look at it in the negative space, you're looking at it as an aho moving from pito to pito to pito to pito, talking about the hiking of whakapapa mai ngā atua taino ki a koe anō hoki. So you're binding yourself and you're wrapping yourself with your own whakapapa to help you move, to traverse, to cut across the things and to move the path that you're walking on.
Say hello to Nan and Papa.
Hello, Nan and Papa.
I come from a whānau of 4 kids. We all start with the letter J. I'm the pōtiki of the 4 of us.
Hello, everybody.
When I was 12, we were living here in Te Tairāwhiti. Our brother Josh hung himself, and obviously very traumatic experience for myself, for my siblings, for our parents. So I actively started trying to embody him, but also I grew up, I was very much a tomboy. I was a very ratty child, very dirty. I hated wearing pink things, and my mum used to force me into them all the time. I hated having my hair brushed. I hated having my hair done. I just wanted to hang out with my brothers. I just wanted to run around and make huts and throw like cow shit at them, because that's what they did to me.
And there's Bubba again, Tarzan.
But there were particular things that I was told, or that my mum would say to me, like, you know, you smile just like him, in different lights you look like him. And I really sat with that, and that to me felt like a way of helping my whānau, but also of helping myself, and of keeping him relevant, of keeping him present, of keeping him here. And that really lived in my body for my whole life. And then came along this sort of challenge of gender expression, or like not physically being him, which I think really guided my direction of my transness. I wonder if I would be this way if he was still here. And so it was really important for me to sit in that space, because I know that trauma sits in the body. It was important for me to help continue, and it's a lifelong thing. Just because I have this beautiful Puhoro now doesn't mean that I'm not in mourning of him, or the loss of him, or that I don't still feel like bringing him with me is a goal. But now it feels really effortless, and it is that process as well of sitting in it for days, and sitting in that grief for days, that has been just the most healing thing that I think I'd ever experienced in my life.